Excellencies, distinguished representatives, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I wish to congratulate the Republic of Fiji and the Kingdom of Sweden on their appointment as presidents and thank them for the able leadership in presiding over this important and timely conference. Trinidad and Tobago aligns itself with the statements delivered by Ecuador on behalf of the Group of 77 and China, and Maldives on behalf of the Alliance of Small Island Developing States. Under its overarching theme, Our Oceans, Our Future, partnering for the implementation of SDG 14, we firmly believe that the Oceans Conference provides us with an excellent opportunity to unite all relevant stakeholders, including governments, international organizations, civil society, private sector, scientists, and academia to work together with renewed energy and enthusiasm to mobilize efforts to save our oceans. While the 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda, namely SDG 14, acknowledges the fundamental importance of oceans to global sustainable development, Trinidad and Tobago remains concerned that although oceans comprise about 70% of the surface of the earth and 95% of the earth's water, unsustainable ocean practices continue to seriously threaten the maritime environment and its biodiversity. In this regard, we reiterate the importance of working constructively to ensure that the resources of the oceans are conserved, equitably distributed, and utilized for the benefit of present and future generations. As a small island developing state whose land-to-sea ratio is 1 to 15, the marine environment and its resources remain critically important to the livelihood of our people and our sustainable development ambitions. Therefore, the implementation of SDG 14 is inextricably linked to the integrated and indivisible nature of all SDGs and thus essential to ensuring that no one is left behind. Given the disproportionate vulnerabilities of our coastal and marine resources to threats from climate change, sea level rise, coastal inundation, coral bleaching, and ocean acidification, as well as from marine pollution, overfishing, and coastal erosion, Trinidad and Tobago recognizes the need to foster national and regional awareness of the role to be played by oceans and their existence, as well as the need to develop integrated coastal and ocean policy through advocacy and education. In this regard, the Government of Trinidad and Tobago, through its commitment to the 2030 Agenda, continues to take steps to conserve and sustainably use oceans and marine resources, namely under the targets of SDG 14, as well as other United Nations programs of action, including the Samoa Pathway and the Addis Ababa Action Agenda for Financing for Development. Therefore, the agreed UN development frameworks, together with the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, of which Trinidad and Tobago is a state party, provides an excellent construct that guides member states on oceans and marine resources. As the global agenda highlights the importance of science-based policy in the implementation of the SDGs, Trinidad and Tobago considers bridging the science policy nexus as critical to improving the way our oceans and coastal spaces are managed and for the growth of the blue economy. To this end, our National Institute of Marine Affairs has recently released a State of Marine Environment Report 2016, which provides a comprehensive, scientifically based assessment of the overall condition of Trinidad and Tobago's marine and coastal environment. The report forms a baseline for which we would aspire to improve through the implementation of an integrated coastal zone policy. Trinidad and Tobago also reiterates the need for continued capacity building and technology transfer to enable countries, namely small island developing states, to better manage the marine environment. This is crucial to the successful achievement of the targets under SDG 14. As a country from a region that is highly vulnerable to the unprecedented rate of loss of marine biodiversity and the impacts of unsustainable practices on the marine environment, particularly as it relates to activities that are conducted in marine ecosystems in area beyond national jurisdiction, Trinidad and Tobago views the conclusion of a legally binding instrument to address these matters as critically important. We therefore welcome the progress achieved during the first 3 sessions of the preparatory committee established pursuant to the Resolution 69292 on the development of an international legally binding instrument under the United Nations Convention on Oceans and Law of the Sea, on the conservation and sustainable use of marine biodiversity of areas beyond national jurisdiction, and look forward to the successful conclusion of the 4th PrepCom in July 2017 and the convening of an intergovernmental conference before the end of the 72nd session of the UN General Assembly. Trinidad and Tobago also welcomes the call for action to be adopted at the conclusion of this conference, which we consider a concise and balanced document which addresses the underlying issues surrounding the state of the marine environment and the commitments and actions of member states that must be taken to safeguard its health through the implementation of SDG 14. We therefore thank the delegation of Singapore and Portugal for their able leadership in the co-chairing of the intergovernmental negotiations of this outcome document. In closing, Trinidad and Tobago reiterates its unwavering commitment to achieving the SDG 14. We believe the time is now to move from words to actions to conserve and sustainably use the oceans, seas, and marine resources for sustainable development by strengthening their resilience and taking restorative action to achieve healthy and productive oceans for the benefit of present and future generations. Mr. President, I thank you.